we have 3 boosters.
All right. Boosters. You got to have boosters. Hi, everyone. Dan Baumann here on the Designer Show with Robin Fisher. Robin, nice to see you today.
Nice to see you.
Yeah. We were just talking about internet boosters because Robin's internet's a little fuzzy. So she's saying her husband's online teaching a course, so he might be hogging all the bandwidth, but he's going to be done in a little bit. So hopefully you'll clear up. I know you're clear and you think clear and all that's all good. So we're not going to worry about it.
It's just a fuzzy day.
Yeah, it's not even Monday. All right. John's not going to be with us today. He's on the road, and he just sent me a message that he is at a place that has weak internet. So he would be ultra fuzzy today. I did that once where I was visiting my grandma in Sleepy. Not my grandma, but my wife's mom. And we call her grandma. And she had really weak internet. So when I looked at the replay, it's like, yeah, I look like a ghost. Anyway, welcome everyone. Glad you guys could be here. Hey, Michael, good day to you too. And we're going to start in just a few minutes. We're going to talk about some kitchen plans today. Robin is, that's what she does, kitchens, baths. Robin, you're an interior designer, right?
Right, but I don't do furnishings.
You don't do furnishings.
No, I do like interior space planning.
Yeah, you'll do, your focus is kitchens and baths, but you do other rooms as well, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Nowadays, I don't think in the past, 15 years that you just do just the kitchen. It always seems to be the kitchen and, kitchen and the powder room or the entertainment center or something else. You're always doing something.
Yeah. Yep, I hear you. So, but today we're going to focus on kitchen plans. So that's what we're going to do. Robin has sent me a plan that we're going to start going through in just a minute. I'm going to offer a few suggestions. Robin's going to give some of her information about why she does things in certain ways, and we'll kind of go from there. So looks like we have George on from the UK. Hi there. Nice to see you from the other side of the world.
It's evening from there.
Yeah. Good afternoon from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
Hello.
Hi. And thanks for joining us. Yeah, feel free to chime in, you guys. If you have some comments, just say hi. Let us know where you're from. Let us know what you do in your business. You do just kitchens and baths, or do you do the whole project? And we can talk about a lot of that different stuff, but I do want to stay focused on kitchens. Before we get into it, let me do my quick little commercial here, Chief Experts Academy. And when you head over there, you can get into our latest training. We have the Chief Architect Mastering course going on right now. And that course is this one right here. I do these courses live every Wednesday.
You're not showing it yet, Dan. It's not showing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do that all the time. And it's like, daggone it. You'd think I would.
Well, Dan puts that up for the kitchen and bath designers. That is an amazing course. I've been taking it. It is amazing how much I've learned just by watching that. Especially the CAD detail part of it has been great.
Yeah, it is fun, isn't it? All the tools in Chief Architect. I've been using this program now. Well, my serial number was 97 back in 1993 or 94. So I was one of the very first people to use this program. I started teaching it at version 2. So I actually rented a computer lab at a local trade school here in town called Dunwoody. Had 25 computers. We loaded Chief up on all those computers at version 2 now. And I managed, I think I had 22 people in that class, something like that, that got Chief and started their career in Chief Architect at that point. Some of those people are still good clients today. So it's really kind of cool how this has all evolved over the years. So now here we are. That was 93, whatever, 18 years later. And nice. No, 28 years later. I'm sorry. I wish it was only 18. And we're up to version 23 shortly. Wow. We're 22 right now, X12. 23, X13 will be out. I heard someone mention yesterday it's got to June for public beta. So we'll see how that goes.
Saw that too.
Yeah. So hopefully that'll happen and you guys will be able to get your hands on it. There's some really cool features in X13 for cabinets that you guys are going to love if you do a lot of kitchen stuff. I can't show it to you because I'm a beta tester, and then my beta, they say I can't do that. So I won't do that. But just know that you have some really cool things to look forward to. And as soon as the beta's out and as soon as the program's out and we can talk about it, absolutely, I'll get on. We'll do some courses just on that. So I'd love it if you could join us. I do record every class, so you can always go back and review them. After the classes are over, we go through and we edit each video. We time code it so that you know the different topics we covered. You can jump right to those topics and take off from there. So we put a lot of effort into making sure it's easy for you to search and find things in the training that I do. And it's really a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing these training classes. And, after all these years, I continue to do this. I continue to do this. It's still, I have a ball putting these classes together and teaching the program because I've seen how much this program has transferred so many people's business lives and what it can do for you in your business. So I'd love if you could join us. Anyway, there's my little commercial about that. You guys, thanks for being here. So we've got, let me just run through the good morning.
No, that was super funny. I love Jeffrey. He does the full Monty.
Jeff's a good guy. I met him he's been to some of my classes, and I met him in Coeur d'Alene 2 or 3 years ago, Jeff, I think it is now. Yeah, we had the pleasure of housing together. What I do when I go to a lot of these events, I'll rent a big house and fill it up with great guys like Jeff and other clients. And yeah, we had a ball. I mean, it's just really fun to meet everybody, and I can't wait to get back out there again. I have heard that Chief Architects annual event that they do is canceled again this year. I mean, the live version is canceled. They're going to do it remote again. So that's the last I heard, because I actually signed up for it and I got a call that said, no, sorry, we're not going to do that. Here we are in Carmel. Cool. Wonderful area. New Hampshire. Al from West Pacific wet Pacific Northwest.
It's not raining yet in Portland. You must be up in Seattle. We don't have the rain yet. It's coming today. It's coming today.
Got a beautiful sunny day here in Minnesota. Here we got Margaret from North Carolina. Hey, Margaret. Nice to see you. All right. So let's dig into your plan.
Okay. Be nice. Be really nice.
Never. I'm going to beat you up really bad today. No, I would never do that. I understand, one of the cool things about teaching the software is one of my comments I think I use too often is that you weren't born learning. You weren't born knowing how to use the software.
Right.
And the other thing to keep in mind is right now there's over 1,200 different icons in the software. And that doesn't even include a lot of these pull downs here that have other functions in them. So, and then you got the plan views, you got the layout views, you got your CAD detail views. There's a lot going on in this program now, and they keep adding things to it. So it's a challenge to keep up with. I mean, this is what I do all day long. I work on this software. And even at that, it's just like, yeah, I still have to, find myself, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Now I can start using it again. So it's just so many things going on in it, which is good and bad all at the same time. I remember back in the day when the program was a little bit simpler, we could have a 2-day class and I could pretty much cover everything. Now, barely scratch the surface when we get into a 2-day class. So it's just what it is, and we just keep working with it. But it's just phenomenal what it can do and how quickly you can crank things out. So tell me a little bit about this plan. How did this plan originate?
So this is a 1970s house with a daylight basement. He's actually my integrator. When we moved into our house, we made it into a smart house, and Mark and I met at a conference a few years ago, and then he came over, and so now I'm doing his house, right? So it's the whole main floor, the whole public space of the main floor, from the entry, living room, dining room, the kitchen, and then downstairs, which is a party room. So there's a full kitchen downstairs on the first floor, and on the basement level is a full floor, working kitchen and everything. She's a huge cook. She cooks all the time. It's a big deal. They have a small farm, so they raise a lot of their own fruits and vegetables. This is totally an Oregon thing, right? Mm-hmm. They raise a lot of their own foods, so they're really big on canning and preserving food. So the downstairs kitchen is more where she does her canning in the summertime when it's really hot, and then but then they do entertain a lot. So it's a whole full working wet bar downstairs.
Okay.
And then upstairs is a really detailed functional kitchen.
All right, cool. So you came into this project. What were some of the, we've been talking about this quite a bit lately. Robin's actually going to start doing some kitchen classes with Chief Experts Academy with me. So I'm really excited about that. Looking forward to do that. And part of what we'll talk about in some of those classes is the mindset that what you go into these projects, what do you think about when you meet a client and you go, well, what are we going to, you say, hey, let me just design this wonderful kitchen for you and you're going to like it, right? Isn't that how it works?
No, not really.
Not quite.
Really.
No, okay. Yeah. I know that. But so where do you start in that thought process?
So prior to me meeting a client for the first time, I knew Mark pretty well beforehand. But before I meet somebody first, I do a lifestyle questionnaire. So I send them an email with it's about a 6-page questionnaire, and it's really dealing with lifestyle issues. Okay. How do you grocery shop? What kind of physical limitations? House expanding or contracting? It's really not about pretties. It's not about how I want the space to look. The space to look is, either Pinterest or House or whatever. Okay. It's a contemporary style home. So
do you do this the first time you meet a client? Tape their address?
I should more than I do. I typically go to, just go to Zillow or something like that and look at it that way. But I don't go to Maps as much as I should. That would be a smart thing to do.
I do that, because I work with a lot of clients all over the country, all over the world, actually. And the first thing I'll do is let me get the address, and then I can go look at the house and we go, oh, okay. Now I get it. Now I've got I got a much better idea of what you're talking about. You said it's going to be a contemporary project. I can look at that, look at the pitch of the roofs. Right. Yeah, there's right there. It's telling me, yep, this is a contemporary house. And if you're in a rural, not a rural area, but a city or something, you'll get these 3D Google Earth where you just hold your control key down and you can spin it around and look at it in 3D. If you're out in the country, which actually this one must be close to the city because usually we don't have 3D on a rural building like this. So property, yeah. So
they're just outside of the Portland area. So a little further out from the outside of the Portland area. I think they have like 2 or 3 acres, but it's so no, I don't do that. But as what is required for permits within Portland city limits and in Washington County, we have to give them site plans. So I typically go to our city map to be able to get the site plan information, which is what we have to put on the plan.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
that's a smart idea to do that.
Yeah, it tells me a ton of information about the client's house. Now we can start, it's almost as good as a visit to the house. Well, not really, but it's something. It's better than nothing. So it's just a little tip for you guys. Get that address, go look at the building right away. And now you can, pictures worth 1,000 words. A Google map, 3D image is worth at least that many. So, all right, cool. So you got into this plan. Where's the as-built? Do we have an as-built versus new?
I don't think the as-built is in this plan, and I really apologize, but it's all, nothing moved. We didn't change any of the windows out. Everything's essentially in the same place. I'm really not even moving the range is still on the same wall. The sink is in the same location. We're pulling and replacing the windows, but nothing is really moving. Okay. So but it was a really horrible space kitchen beforehand. And I don't have the before picture. I mean, I can show you the before pictures if you really want to see them.
No, that's all right. We don't need to get into that kind of detail here. But what I was asking Robin about, to look at the as-built layout. And let me show everybody this really quick and how that works, because it's really a handy thing to have in your plan. I wish I would have caught that early on. I would have asked you for that existing plan so we could put it in here. But let me just go open a new plan. And if you guys aren't familiar with how you do this, it's really slick and cheap. Now, there's a couple different ways to do it. I'll show you the way that I always do it. So if you have a plan and you've gone out and measured the building, and if you're working in my template, which I offer as part of my class, as part of some of my classes, or you can get it from my website, I have a thing here, as-built measuring plan. So you go on here, and that's going to allow you to measure from surface to surface instead of framing to framing. It's going to put the text on a different layer. It's going to put the notes on a different layer. But anyway, so what you do is you measure the existing building either on site or get your notes and come back to your office. And then you're going to just finish doing that as-built plan. All right. So you're going to put everything into plan, add your notes, add your cabinets, whatever it is that you want to have in your plan as part of your as-built drawing. So once you get to this point, and if you don't have my template, the next step you would need to do is create a layer set where you turn everything off. All right. So I've got a layer set up here, as-built plan to create dotted lines. And here I've turned off all of the dimensions, the text, the wall layers, the trim. I've turned off all of those different things here. And the next thing I'm going to do is highlight these cabinets, open them, and I'm going to remove the fill style. Okay, so I want there to be no fill in those cabinets. So now I've got a nice, clean, little simple plan. I'm going to convert that to a CAD detail right now using CAD detail to view. And we're going to click on that. And we've got a bunch of lines. So what Chief does is puts a CAD detail in this little area in the program called CAD detail window. And I'm going to click on that, rename it, call it my as-built, and then I'm good to go. Now there's a couple more steps. It's really simple. Once you've done this a couple of times, I'm going to highlight all the CAD lines. I'm going to open the dialog, and I'm going to make sure that I'm on the right layer. So I've got a layer set up called CAD as-built dotted lines, and you can just set that up. It's going to be a blue dotted line or red or whatever color you want. Then I make sure these 3 check marks are on, and I make sure this drop down says to back. Okay, so that's really all you have to do to the CAD lines. Just make them look like you want them to appear in your as-built, in your demo plan, I guess we could call this. Then I'm simply going to take this and copy it. I'm going to go back to my floor plan. I'm going to paste, edit, paste, hold position. Put that back in my plan. And when you're done, it should look like nothing changed. But now as you start, if I switch back to my plan to start working on it now, and so now when I move some walls, there's the dotted lines. If I move a window, now I can see where the window used to be. So it puts all those items in there so that you can, with the click of a switch, in your layers to turn that layer on and off, the as-built CAD lines, you can instantly see what's there. So if I remove a cabinet, I can say, okay, there used to be cabinets there. So you can have as much as you want in your as-built plan. Just a little FYI for you on how that works. It's pretty slick. It's pretty easy once you get it down. The important thing is finish your as-built, then do this, and then now start making your changes. All right. So I just wanted to show everybody that.
That's great. And normally I do have my as-built as my first drawing, but I know you do. I didn't send it to you. Sorry.
I know you do. So it would have been nice to go turn on the blue dotted line layer here to see where things used to be. To see how much change, how much change you made to this plan. So anyway, just thought I'd show that. All right, your screens are blurry. They are, huh? Whose screens are blurry? Is the screen is this screen where I'm showing you Chief Architect blurry? Anybody seeing that here? Let us know. If you're having trouble.
Looks good to me.
Yeah, it looks good to me too. So hopefully it's not just an internet thing. I don't think. No, I have really good internet here. I shouldn't be having this problem. Anyway, yes, the
plan screen is blurry.
Non-fuzzy's fine. Looks okay. Looks okay. Looks okay. Very clear. All right. So
Margaret, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Margaret, maybe pop out of the meeting and come back in, or if you're watching watch on Facebook or YouTube, you can click the video on the web page if you're on my website, and that'll take you to YouTube. You could watch it there. Anyway, let's keep moving here.
Okay.
All right. So
when I meet with clients the first time, I already know a little bit of information about them ahead of time because they have created this questionnaire, right? And then when I come into their home, it's more about looking at what they own, you have to be a little snoopy. You have to look and see what's inside all of their cabinets. You have to see how many gadgets and accessories they have and all that. And then it's really a conversation of how do you work in the space? Who works in the kitchen? How do they cook? What do they do? And so I work on this concept of work centers. So each part of the kitchen has a task. So from the sink to the left is what I call, from the sink to the left part of the kitchen, to the sliding door is what's called the cleanup center. Yep. So that's where the sink and the dishwasher and all their dishes go, and cutlery and towels and Tupperware containers and all that kind of stuff. And then we have the prep and cooking center, which is between the main work part of the kitchen is the refrigerator, the range, and the sink. And now let me step back on this, is I'm really paying attention to how people cook and how every single thing goes away in the kitchen. So as I'm designing and talking to them about how do they cook and what kind of space requirements they need, then I'm actually deciding, does this cabinet need to be a drawer or doors or rollouts, or what kind of accessories do I want to put in it?
So you start thinking of those kind of details right away.
Absolutely. I mean, I immediately start designing, putting everything they own away. Everything is being put away and everything has a place.
Yep.
So the space where the,
here's a little tip for everyone. I was just, if I click on this camera and open it and I spin around in the room, you're going to notice that I go outside of the room at some point. Okay. When you're doing cameras in a room, what you want to do is take a camera and you want to go a little ways. Just do little bitty ways, because what happens is the camera is going to spin around wherever you let go of your mouse. So if I stretch this line way out, the camera is going to spin around from that point, and so it's going to take a really wide spin. So if you do it just a little bit, when I spin around in this room, now I'm spinning from the center of the camera. Here, let me just tile the display here and show you what I'm talking about. So if you watch the camera on the floor plan here, so watch that camera right here, because that's the one that I'm looking at in this view. So when I spin that around, you'll see how the camera moves. See how it's spinning around the end of that where I let go of my mouse. So that's a really nice way to see the inside of a room without going off into some outer space thing. So just a little tip for you about looking at rooms. When you zoom in and out, you see how the camera gets stretched in and out like that. So that'll affect. So when I spin now I'm going to be outside the building. Anyway, okay, so I'd show that one. Okay, keep going.
So the kitchen part, the part of the kitchen where the main work triangle is between the refrigerator, the range, and the sink, that's where the major part of the cooking is going on. But then it's a conversation about what other tasks are happening. So these people do lots of canning. Okay. Yeah, these people do lots of canning. They do lots of entertaining, when they can entertain. So that's where, how do we need the rest of the space to work? So they do a lot of big projects. So we needed a really large island.
How many different types of cooks are there? You got your person. You got your person that you told me once you designed the kitchen once for someone that said, "Yeah, whatever. I eat out every meal."
Yeah. They just wanted it really pretty. In fact, I actually threatened them. I said, "If you don't cook in your kitchen, I'm going to come over and cook." And I ended up I was like the first person to cook in their kitchen, and it was months after it was done. No, so I think the majority of people, when life is back to normal, the majority of people cook. I always say this: you cook for fuel Monday through Friday, and then, Monday through Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday is passion cooking. Okay. I think that's the way a lot of people cook. Unless you're like me, it's my relaxing thing. It's when I get home from work, I like to cook because it just kind of puts me in the right brain to relax. Sure. But, not everybody's like me. That's kind of weird. But it's really, most people have the same needs in their home, and especially in their kitchen. These people really cook. And when it's part of my interview process is really determining how they cook and then helping them to determine what type of appliances they need.
So they wouldn't be classified necessarily as gourmet, but or they would be like a dual cooks.
He doesn't really cook. He makes more he does all the grilling, but that happens downstairs.
Okay.
But he does the cocktails and the beer, and he does all that kind of stuff.
All right.
But at my first interview is really where we're talking, once I'm on the site, looking at kind of how they live in the space and what their needs are. They have 2 children. So they need an eating bar that's big enough for their kids and their friends to hang out. She likes people to hang out in the kitchen, but she doesn't want them in their space. So that's why the eating part of the kitchen is towards the end, close enough, sit down, have a glass of wine, talk to me, but stay out of my way, kind of cooking. And so they needed it big enough for, their kids to have friends come over and all that. And then it's also a conversation about how do they cook and what their needs are. So then we're already talking about appliances. So most of my kitchens end up being a Sub-Zero Wolf kitchen because they're American-made products. They're high quality. They function. They're really good for people who actually cook. And the value is there. I mean, to me, the value for those appliances are amazing. So anyway, it's I start talking to them about different types of cooking. Do you need gas? Do you need induction? Do you want a steam oven? How do you, it's what size refrigerator do we need? So we really go through and spend a lot of time discussing what their needs are, and then I can start putting together a design.
And of course, there's always a budget question. Yeah.
There's always that budget thing. Oh, that's the hard part, right?
Yeah. They want the $100,000 kitchen for $50,000. It's like, oh boy.
Well, but here's the cool part is that he's an integrator. So if you guys don't know what an integrator is, he does all high-tech smart home design. So he's used to working in homes that are in the $1 million range, so he gets the quality. It was a little hard getting her on board with it because she doesn't deal with the high quality stuff on a regular basis like he does. So he's already like totally on board with product and concepts, right? So that was a little bit different. And normally it's there's usually one person in the family who's more on board financially where the budget is, and the other one, there's always one person that's more on board than the other person is.
That's pretty typical. So I just as I scroll through your plan here, I'm asking, well, where's the 3D views, man? You didn't put any 3D views here.
Not on the plans. My contractor doesn't want them.
Yeah, is that
and very typical?
You find that for a lot of your contractors you work with?
Yeah, my contractors don't want 3D pictures. They said, why are you wasting my ink and why are you wasting a piece of paper? They don't want to see it. I can send it to them I send it to them online. That's more of a communication tool for me and my clients. And I really need you guys to understand, when I use Chief for the 3D part, it's really being used as a communication. It's not necessarily, I don't spend a lot of time making them perfect. I make them look good enough, but you can see there's some crown overlapping at the back of my refrigerator. That's not the way it's really going to be. And there's some little details that I just can't, I am not wasting. Here's the thing. My clients aren't going to pay me to waste my time doing that. So I am not going to spend the time making my images perfect.
Robin, it's fun to make it perfect.
Yeah. I don't have the patience for that.
No,
this is good enough.
I get it totally. No, I get it totally, and I'm on the same mindset. And when I do classes often, and you guys on the call, maybe you can relate to this too. It's just like, Chief's so cool that you could do really awesome things with it. You can change the materials, the wood grain, the patterns, the tile. You can get it perfect if you put the time into it. So people say, well, let's do some really high quality renderings. I want it to look like photographs. And my first question is always, well, are you getting paid to do those kind of renderings? And 99% of the people say, no, they're not. So because it can take a lot of time. Now, X13 is going to make that a lot easier because it'll be real-time ray trace. So that when we walk through the plan, it'll look photo quality if the lighting is good. So that's going to help a ton, because right now we have to go through ray trace and we have to, click the ray trace camera here, and then we have to try all these different settings and wait for 15 minutes to see if it looks halfway decent. And I mean, you could spend hours and hours. And then if you want to do a really, really good rendering, you have to let it run for overnight sometimes. And then you get there in the morning and you go, oh, that didn't work at all. So it's just like, so it's really frustrating and really tough. So like you're saying, don't waste your time doing super perfect unless you're getting paid for that, or unless you're that good that you can do it really quickly. Each project's going to have a different set of parameters as far as that goes.
I agree. But so Jeffrey and Alan said they use theirs and that it helps a lot. If I'm going to do a 3D image, it's not going to be color. I'm going to do it as a black and white. And just convert it.
You switch to a vector view. Now, one of the cool things that you might be aware of in Chief is that you don't even have to, if you switch to vector view, that's going to be line drawing. And here it is, the line drawing in color. What you could also do is you could go to, what I like to do sometimes is go watercolor, but you could go to technique options. And, the vector view, it is what it is. It's shading with lines. But if we go to the watercolor, you got all these different settings. And then you can also do the line drawing on top. And you can set, there used to be a program out there called Squiggle. So you could set the amount of overlap on lines. So you can make it look virtually hand-drawn. And like it's colored in, you took paint and colored it in. I'll do this sometimes on projects. Just a little advice for you guys, or word of warning. Be careful with high quality rendered views. Okay. Some people, if you show them to some people and you give them to them, and I've heard this story, it's a true story. A contractor was installing the cabinets, and the client comes out of the thing with their paper and says, the color of the cabinets doesn't look quite like what you're putting up. I really want the cabinets to look like they're in this picture. And that was a rendering. They didn't have any disclaimers. They didn't have anything in their contract or their agreement that said that renderings are just for visualization. They're not the real thing. Well, the client insisted. So they had to replace the cabinets with the color that matched more in their rendering.
So that is a slippery slope. I know of a contractor here in town who got sued because his 3D rendering, he didn't put a disclaimer on it. That's why it's better to do it like this. There's a pretty big remodeling company in Portland, Oregon, Neil Kelly. They're pretty well known. And when they give their client a 3D rendering, it's done only in watercolor, and they put a big disclaimer on the front of it that this is only for design purposes, for aesthetic purposes. It is not for construction documents.
So on my layout template, I have this that I give as part of the template. 3D views not scale may not reflect exactly what's available. All right. Bam. Okay. 2D views always supersede 3D. So it's a simple statement, but it covers you. So that's something to be aware of. I'll tell you, I'll give you a little heads up on the next release is the line drawing part of that can go over any view now, I believe it is, and it's really fast. Right now, the line drawing on top of drawings is kind of slow, but it's going to be really nice. So the ability to make it look more hand-drawn is coming, and it's going to look a lot nicer. Good. So, and you can do that with any view, I think, except floor plans. You could do your elevations too, I believe. All right, so so I noticed you, again, your kitchen and bath, you're an interior person. You don't do roofs. We talked about that a little bit yesterday, where you'll do plans like this and you wanted to show someone windows, and it would have been nice with roofs, but you don't do roofs. And so, whether you need to do that or not, it's up to you. This one does have a vaulted ceiling, so I noticed you did put a roof in the plan.
Yeah, I don't think it's exactly appropriate. I don't think it's exact. The pitch is correct.
Exact, the right pitch and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's the right pitch. Oh, actually, that is the right pitch. That I do know is correct. Yeah, but if you notice on the left-hand side, there's a little bit of a dog ear there. Yeah. But if you look on my elevation page, for that, I put a little bit of a picture in there on it on page 8. If you look on layout, I put a little picture there to show that.
Let's take a look at how you did that. And because there's two ways to do vaulted ceilings in the kitchen or in any room in your plan. Actually, you did it by drawing a roof over the plan. Okay.
Right.
So there you go. So what happened here is it's possible the ceiling height's too low here. So the ceiling is kind of climbing up and then over. Although you do have the ceiling shut off. So it surprises me that happened. Let's take a quick peek at the plan and open its dialog. And let's just change the ceiling height to see. Yeah, see the ceiling set to 93. So let's bump that up to 97. 97. Well, if we go 97 and an eighth, just an FYI for you guys that use Chief, 97 and an eighth inch ceiling height is a typical ceiling height for a house that has pre-cut studs with a bottom plate, 2 top plates, and 5/8 sheetrock on the ceiling. That is a typical number. So when you're doing your cross sections, don't change that to 97 or 96 just because it's a nice even number. Leave it at 97 and 8 because that's what it should be. As a person working out in the field, looking at that, that would make sense. Okay, so it didn't fix it when I raised it up. So there's something else going on here. I'm not quite sure what that is. But another thing that can be done with kitchens, and let's just talk about that for a minute. You could use ceiling planes to show that vault as well. And then again, when you're using, let's just look at this real quick. Let's do a wall elevation of that. And you notice that the wall elevation ends there. So it's not showing the vault. All right. So next version, it'll show that. You'll be able to adjust it however you want. In this version, what you would have to do is go into, use this camera where I did a backclip, or I did a full cross section, or you could go back into the room, close some of the stuff. And if I just raise the ceiling height really high, so if I just make it a 15-foot ceiling, now in that elevation, that flat elevation, it'll show the ceiling. And I'm not quite sure why it's doing that. That is really weird.
Yeah, I don't do roofs. I'm a interior designer.
Understood. So, okay, let's readjust the top wall height. So what happened at some point is you clicked on that wall and you pulled the top of it down. All right. Okay. So at some time, in walls interact with roofs. So when you pull a wall down, it's not going to interact with the roof anymore. You remove the automatic set function with that. So I'm going to go to the wall spec, and I'm going to tell it to be default again. So now my wall will interact with the roof, and we look at a cross section. Still didn't fix it. So there's something else going on here. What would that be? Anybody got any ideas what that might be? That is really weird.
I'd like to comment on something that Alan said, and he says that the danger is that most people have no clue what is going on in a 2D drawing. If you clarify and show them 3D views, they know what is to come. And I agree with that. But Alan, that to me is client communication. So I use, and what I love about Chief is I use the 3D to be able to share that with the client. And what I am sharing often is that it's not something that my contractors have told me, hands down, they're just not interested. I work with the same contractors. I've worked with 4 people for years, these same 4 contractors for years. And they just said, don't waste my paper on it. They don't need it. They know what I'm asking for in design. So it works out just fine. Okay. And I'm not saying that that's the right way or the wrong way. I'm just saying this is not what I do. I don't waste that. I don't have that time to do it. But I love the fact that the 3D is there and the clients can see it, and that's what's important to me.
I used to sell a Chief program years ago when they had a dealer program, and one of my, I would always say Chief's one of the best communication tools you have in your company. Yeah. Next to your written specifications, but again, pictures are worth 1,000 words. So when you can show someone what it's going to look like, even if it's not perfect, it's close. Yeah. They're going to get it. The reason that your ceiling was off like that is because you had put a ceiling plane in and a roof, and your ceiling plane was lower at that point. Okay.
Got it.
So So the only time you really need to use a ceiling plane. So let me just show you this real quick. So when you're working on a plan, and let me just go here, and you've got your walls in place, and you put a roof on. Okay. So let's say this is your kitchen, and you need to have a vaulted ceiling. All right. And so I could go into the structure and just turn the ceiling off to start out. All right. Click OK. And then if you go into a view, you could now start putting a roof on it from this view, understanding that as you add roofs. So what I would do is click the build a roof plane, and click auto build too. Because what this will do is you can start making changes, and it'll automatically, bam, the change will be there. So turn the auto build on. So if I needed this to be a gable, I'm going to click on this, and then there's a little icon down here that will turn that wall into a gable wall. Right? So that then I can make it look like that. And then it's like, okay, well, this wall has less of a pitch than this wall. So now I can click on this wall, and I can go in here and say, under the roof tab. So under the roof tab for a wall, you can do things to the roof above that wall. So in this case, we could put a different pitch in that wall than the other walls in our plan. Okay, so just above this wall, I want to have a 412 pitch. And when I click OK, because I have the auto roof build on, now it's going to show me that pitch. And then if I were to measure that from the top to the floor, because where the roof gets put is always determined by the ceiling height of the room, where the roof gets put initially. You can change it manually anytime you want, but we're still in the automatic setting phase of this. So if I were to go in here and I say, well, you know, the wall is a little bit taller there. So now I could change the ceiling height of this room. So if I go in here and I put plus 12 inches, for example, all right, so I just added 12 inches that. And again, for those of you that are watching this, you can put a minus 12 inches, plus 12 inches. So this acts like a calculator for you. Just add that number and it'll put it in and out. So now it raised that up. Now I've got a taller wall. Of course, this wall is going to be taller as well, but that's just how it works. So you could do that. Now, the other thing you could do is you could use ceiling planes, and that's what you had in your plan. You had a ceiling plane and a roof. So at some point you had done that. So let me just go in here and I'll show you that real quick. And again, you don't care about the rest of the house. You're just trying to get the kitchen to look right.
No, just interiors, yeah.
Exactly. So again, I just grab the tab and I pull it down, and it tiles the display. No shit, my toolbar just blew up. This happens.
That happened to me yesterday too.
Yeah, did it? It's happened to you too? Yeah, it's been happening to many people. Especially when you're in a Zoom call, and it was happening to me with GoToWebinar yesterday. Very frustrating. Let's see. So I want to go. I'm not in a Zoom call. This is called StreamYard. So I'm going to go to reset options. So I hit my preferences, hit reset toolbars, hit OK, and then I'm going to have to get out of this. So let me save this. Let's call it a demo plan. Yeah, release that one. Save that. Sorry, guys. Okay.
Well, I can. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Go ahead. Keep talking.
Well, I was going to say that one of the things that I love about Chief and how I look at when I'm designing kitchens, I really try to make sure that when I'm designing a space, and I use the program to really give each one of my tradespeople the right information on each page. So I do have written specs that are not on my drawings. My contractors have asked that specifications are a separate document. Okay. Because when I do specs, I mean, I'm selecting everything for the house, like, everything, right? So, but when I'm designing a space in a room, I'm automatically mentally and physically putting things away in every one of my cabinets. So I work with Rev-A-Shelf a lot. And what I love about Chief is that Rev-A-Shelf is on is an option that I can put the information in the drawings, and I create schedules for every elevation page that shows exactly what's happening in each cabinet. So it makes it easy. I work with custom cabinet shops. So my cabinet shops can open page 1 and see everything that's happening in every one of those cabinets, all the accessories. So my drawings have a lot of schedules on them, which is, I find that it's really helpful for everybody just so they can bid things easier. I want my drawings to be, my construction documents are just that. My drawings are construction documents. They're things that I use for all my trades. And I'm constantly, every time I create a drawing, each one specifically has my trade contractor in mind. So like this kitchen has 3 different countertops. So I do a countertop plan. I will do, if I do a custom soffit detail, I will do a soffit plan. So I end up with a lot of these interior plans that are very specific for tradespeople. And the countertop plan was really helpful. I can give that. It's just one thing that I can give to my countertop. I do collect a lot of bids for my for my contractors. I will immediately, they'll say what subs they want me to send drawings out to, and then I will immediately send out the appropriate pages to each of those tradespeople for them and collect bids for them. I find as the designer, I'm their support person. So I help my contractors as much as possible. And I make sure the plans are very specific to each one of my tradespeople.
So let's talk about how you set up this countertop plan. By the way, I was just going in here, and then while you're talking, I showed how to do the roof plane. So I'll just highlight this real quick for you. So what I did, okay, so here's your room. This is going to be your kitchen. So you go in and you turn the ceiling off, okay? So you're always going to have the ceiling off whenever you have a vaulted ceiling. So that's under structure, flat ceiling is going to be off, okay? And then double click on the roof icon, and you're going to set the pitch that you want to draw. You can change that, but if you start by doing this, you can draw it manually for whatever you want. And then Chief has a tool here called the ceiling plane. So you just draw a box, you draw a line. Okay, so I'm drawing a line. Now I'm moving my cursor toward the ridge, and then I'm going to click, and you see how it added just a plane. It's not a roof. It's just like the ceiling of the room. Right. And then you're going to use this tool here called join edges. And if I click on this ridge and this ridge, it'll join it together. So the roof tools in Chief are phenomenal. You can design anything you want. They do a great job. And it's just a really nice way to get those kinds of things in your plan. Why it's not doing my wall there, I don't know, but I would stretch that through and go like that, and I'm done. So there you go. And at any time you can open the dialog and go, I want that to be lower, I want it to be higher, I want it to be a different pitch, I want to keep the bottom where it is, and I want this to be a 312 pitch, and I click OK, and you see how it slopes it down. Then I simply have to use the join tool to put the edges back together. And I got to click on the right edges. So do it from the floor plan. So I've got I'll be doing 2 sessions on roofs in my mastering course coming up, and roofs are fun. I love working with roofs, and once you understand how the tools work, you can model any kind of roof you want. Okay, back to your plan.
I'm going to take that class. It's totally worth it. Yeah. I want to know how to do all this stuff.
Yeah, and so many things apply to so many things throughout the program. The way you add a countertop to your plan is the same way you add tile on a wall, the same way you add a sidewalk and terrain perimeter, and the same way you reshape a roof. All of those tools, they're the same tool, but they do different things in Chief.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about the plan here. So now you're using a thing here called plan views. All right. So let me get back into your plan.
I'm not sure if you're on my plan. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. Yeah. No, I am. Okay. So we're in plan views, and Jen, when I start drawing, I'm starting with a 1/4 inch plan, which for a kitchen, you're not going to do that. So for kitchen, we switch to the NKBA layers plan view set, which turns on the kitchen.
Actually, I changed the way I do it. When I now draw, because it's like my brain goes a million different ways at the same time.
Okay.
So I now use the architectural plan for 1/2 inch.
Okay.
And I put everything on it. Like I will put furniture in place, because a lot of times when I'm designing a space, I have to determine how much space I can't use. Like if it's a kitchen with a dining room in the same area, I have to space off how much space I can't use.
Sure.
So I'll throw a dining room table there and measure out the amount of space that I need. Make sure the dining room tables meets the client's
FYI,
specific own.
This is a symbol that you got at Chief's library. That's called a group. And what Chief has got going on here, it's called a bounding box. So when you open the dialog for that, turn off the bounding box, and then I'll get rid of those dotted lines. Okay.
Fabulous.
So that cleans that up. The other thing you can do is ungroup it. So anytime you have a group of items put together, that little icon right there will explode it. It'll take it apart. So now you can
get rid of the furniture.
Yeah,
that's great.
Do whatever you want to it. So,
yeah, so I don't need the chairs, but I do want the table.
Okay.
But that's totally fine. But I will. So what I do is now, a lot of times as I'm designing, it's like, oh, and I really want a decorative light fixture in this location. So I will, with using the architectural plan, I can just throw everything on the plan at one point, and then I can go to specific layers. I can, on my NKBA plan, I've turned off all my furniture. Like, I don't want furniture on my NKBA plan. My contractor does not want bar stools on the plan. They don't care about it.
Right.
But my client does. So I will give my client one set of plans that are different than what my contractor has, or they'll have additional sets of plans on it. Right. So what I like about working in the architectural plan is I can put everything on, and then I can go to the specific plans that I want, and I can take off certain things.
Yeah.
So I really like it. Like when I'm doing a furniture plan for my client, I don't have nomenclature on my cabinets. They don't care about it.
Right.
So I can change all of that, which I just love, that I can modify it and make it work for me.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of plan views, is that you can, for your architectural plan, you could turn on and off. If you don't want those cabinet callouts, you could turn them off. I always like to put this little icon on I put these icons on my toolbar. And there's one here called Layer Hider that I like to use. This is the only modifications I ever make to a toolbar. That's it. Everything else is stock within Chief Architect. So what I do here is you can right click on any icon and customize toolbars. And I go to tools, I go search for layer, and I'm going to pull my layer hider up here on the toolbar. And then I also have my layer eyedropper. I have my wall hatching, and then the paste hole position is one you should always use. And then put that right on top of the layer hider. And that's it. That's really all I ever do. So anytime I want to hide something, I just click on it, and I click on that object, and I'm just hidden that layer. So, really
but I have two that I do recommend that I add, because I do mostly interiors, and I always add hide exterior walls when I'm in 3D, and I always had turn off shadows, because I don't want to see. I have the toggle shadow off, so those are all available. But I add those two so that way when I'm showing my clients exterior views, don't laugh at the exterior views, you guys. This is not an exterior project, okay? Interior design, so no laughing. It looks goofy.
Laugh at you, plan.
No, it's super goofy, right?
So what she was talking about with hide exterior walls. So you want to go look at your kitchen, but you can't really see it unless you go into it. This is good for small rooms. It's good for your whole house. And of course, I deleted the roof and stuff, so that's why it's extra messed up. So that's under this pull down up here. Where did it go again? It's
under.
It's right here.
There.
So you can hide camera facing exterior walls. So as you spin around, it just turns off those outside walls. That's really a handy one when you want to look inside your model and your structure. It works really well.
It really helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really a good one. So, and then your shadows on and off. You could do that by clicking this little icon with the pencil. Is that the one? Yeah. So that one with the pencil, you could hit show shadows or not show shadows, but you said there's an icon for that too, to turn those on and off. Okay. I got to go.
Yeah, because I think the shadows are just too confusing. It's just one more thing that it makes it hard for people to see.
Yeah.
But go to the layout page. This is what I think I'm most happy with of what I'm creating is, and you can just keep flipping, like page 8 or something like that. So in here, well, yeah, but go back one more page. I do a lot of annotation on my drawings.
Yep.
But now I'm using things like it's not necessarily cabinet schedule, because I don't put all the details. I don't create a cabinet schedule because my cabinet people they go through and they list their stuff. But if you notice, every one of these notes on here, I'm using notes to create them. And what I'm adding on it is what's happening in each of those cabinets. So what Rev-A-Shelf item I'm using, what accessory is happening in each space. And then I have an appliance schedule, especially for my cabinet people, which my cabinet people need to see all the schedules. They need to know, is that refrigerator having a panel on it, and what is the refrigerator? So I really try to make sure that it's very clean and very detailed. I also specify all of my recessed cans, really picky about lighting. So in my electrical plan, on my schedule, all of my lighting is specified, like what is specifically happening with each item.
So you've laid out every can, you've dimensioned it, you've got little notes for some of them. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. That's so important in these kinds of rooms. Well, any room actually, but yeah, so you've really detailed the heck out of it. Cool.
Danny asked how you got your toolbars back so quick. He had to turn it off and turn it on again. You have to turn off the whole program, and that's the only way it comes back.
Well, I first I went to edit preferences, and then I went to reset, and I hit reset toolbars. Then I exited the program, came back in. It came back with one row of icons, and I went to customize. I went to extended tool configuration. And then I also created a toolbar with my name on it that I keep in a different folder. So I created it and I moved that from the data folder to another folder. So whenever it crashes, I just go customize toolbars and I go toolbars and I import that, and then I'm back in business. So, so if you have a lot of tools that you've added, remember to keep a copy of that somewhere else. So that's in your documents folder and you can find it that way. So
I'd like to make a point just for the kitchen designers in the room who are paying attention.
We're almost out of time.
I know we are.
We're just getting warmed up here.
I know. So I'd like to make just a little note, just because you can put something, for those of you who use the accessories, especially put the Rev-A-Shelf items in the cabinets. There's a way to add that information, the model numbers, directly to your schedule, which is really great. But make sure you're using the right ones, and you can actually go. I don't get paid by Rev-A-Shelf. I need you to know that, but you can get a free catalog. They deliver it really quickly. If you go to their contact page, they'll send you an updated catalog, and the brand new one just came out. So if you're a kitchen designer, I really recommend that you get the new catalog so you know everything that's happening inside the cabinets.
And I would assume they have catalogs online too.
Oh, they do, but their catalog is archaic online. It's a pain to have to deal with it.
I can't believe they wouldn't keep it up to date. But let's go add something to this cabinet, a Rev-A-Shelf thing, and then we're going to have to call it a day here.
It won't fit because it's not deep enough, Dan. Nothing will fit in there because it's only 18. It's only 15 inches deep.
All right,
no, but if you go to one of the other cabinets, there'll be something in it. What is the problem with Rev-A-Shelf is if you don't, if you can shove something in that cabinet that might not necessarily really fit in that cabinet because of the specs. So you really need to have your catalog open. You have to have your catalog
open. Make sure you have the right size cabinet. That's so true. So if
it's Rev-A-Shelf here,
so
you guys,
I'm clicking on this. Now, normally this would be a door. Okay. But I've converted it to it's a drawer now. All right. So if we go appliance, door, drawer, and we specify, now I could specify that is going to be something, and what's that going to be? So we could do this right here. And this is where we go to the Rev-A-Shelf library, and it's under the manufacturer catalog under R for Rev, right there. And there's a boatload of stuff in this catalog. So I don't know how many different things they have, but it's huge. Yeah. So there's if we just
too many. Actually,
look at all of the things that we have here. It's like, holy smokes. So when you click on some of these things, let's see, well, I'm just going to do that because we're out of time. You grab that, and now that's going to be part of this. Okay. And you click OK. And I could hit show open and drawers, because that's a drawer now. And it's going to show my Rev-A-Shelf thing. So let's go back to
Here's the thing. But Dan, can I just point this out real quickly?
Yep.
That specific item, if you use that specific item, it would not go into that format of a cabinet, because it has a 50-liter or 50-quart trash can, and it would not be designed for that specific cabinet.
Right.
So for those of you who don't know, Rev-A-Shelf is cabinet accessories. Yeah. So it's all the accessories that go inside the cabinet. Yeah. Chief has their library on their system for kitchen and bath designers, which is really great. But if you're doing a lot of them, so here's the thing that I need you to know about this, right? When I'm designing, I'm immediately putting things away, and I'm putting accessories in their cabinets. I tell my clients right up front that yes, it's going to increase their contract. It's going to increase their cabinet cost, but you're going to go, if I don't do it for you, you're going to go to the Container Store later on, and you're going to put things in that don't really fit. So by putting them in by the cabinet maker, they fit perfectly and they're organized properly. So if you go down to, all you have to do is to get the catalog. Their website's archaic. Trust me on this. If you go to contact us, and then you go, oh, it doesn't matter. It's still archaic. If you go to contact us,
last year's data on the bottom. I'm sorry, go ahead.
But if you go to contact us and you fill out your stuff, and it'll say, what do you want? And you just say, ask them for literature. Seriously, like within less than a week, you will get your literature, you'll get the catalog, and it'll make your life so much easier. Okay. But make sure that you're putting the right information into it. That's a nightmare. I have no patience for that catalog.
Well, it looks like okay, so you don't like this. But yeah, I mean, you like the paper there. So I know a lot of companies are going paperless, so at least you have an option. But that's where you go to do it. So Rev-A-Shelf is a good thing.
And I don't make any money off of them, you guys. So just so you know that.
Yeah, you do. You sell clients this stuff, and you make money because you design better.
There you go.
So you kind of do. So a little FYI for you. I want to see this, but I don't want to see this drawer open. So go back into the cabinet itself. And we're going to click on the top drawer, and we can say percentage open for each of these items. So I can make my percentage open for this, maybe 20% for the top drawer, and then I could have less for the bottom. So now you can see the item that you're putting in the cabinet. So you got a lot of flexibility like that. So
that's
just
brilliant.
Hey guys, this was fun. We could probably go another couple hours really easily, but that's not the deal here. So I appreciate everybody being here. Thanks, you guys. Yeah. And, let us know if you have any questions. Again, look for some information coming up, and we'll get that out for you. And again, Robin, thanks for putting my logo on one of your clients' kitchens. That's really nice. I like that.
My pleasure. Anytime.
This is one of the kitchens that you have done, and it's just gorgeous.
A long time ago, yeah.
Really? God, it looks like you just did it yesterday. It's really gorgeous.
Yeah, those kids have grown up. I think one of them's now in college.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where does the years go?
It's really tough when you're now, like I am now remodeling my clients' children's homes. That's really old. Anyway. Mm-hmm. Anyway, It's a pleasure, Dan. Always a pleasure. And if you guys have any questions on any of this, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Happy to help.
Yep. Robin's information is on our website. If you have questions for her or comments, just go to the About page. Let me get to it here. So if you go to the website, go to Info and About Chief Experts, and if you scroll down, you'll see Robin is listed here as a contributor, along with John, which John's on the call, but doesn't have the internet to do it. And here's Robin's information, and then you can.
You're not showing your screen again.
Why didn't you tell me that before I was done showing everybody this? Hang on. All right. Hold on. I got to get back to the right spot on my end.
Thank you, guys.
I know I lost my show information. Where'd you go?
It's pretty easy, you guys. Go to.
Okay.
There you go.
So yeah. So just go to not to the house there, but go to the about, go to info, about, and then you can just scroll down. You'll see Robin's picture. And
yeah, it's a horrible picture, but it's there.
I like that picture. But we've been updating your pictures. So there you go. And there's you can reach Robin here. And if you have any questions for her, she's got a really nice house portfolio too. So check that out. All right, everybody. Yeah. Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Thank you guys. Have a great day. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.